Welcome, welcome, welcome. Red Bull Wololo Legacy continues, and we've got one of their semi-finals here. In the southwest, we have got Beastyqt playing in blue as the Mongols, and his opponent also looking to book a ticket in the grand final for Red Bull Wololo Legacy is Marinelord, playing in yellow as the Ottomans. Kicking off on the first map, the Gorge with a central sacred site and very open middle. Two very aggressive civilizations, especially with the Mongols, but the Ottomans, they actually do have a lot of potential to be aggressive as well. Now, what's super interesting as one of the new civilizations to Age of Empires 4, Ottomans could potentially do what Mongols do, but better. Will we see, we've got the instant military school already, going to be getting some spearmen, but we're going to be also seeing a barracks opening. We've seen this already in Red Bull Wololo Legacy, and this definitely seems a really good approach to face up against Mongols. You're going to be getting free units from the military school as the Ottomans, but also just matching a little bit there with the barracks production and spearmen should potentially be able to overwhelm, as the villager does come forward here for Beastyqt from that forward barracks position and the Uvu in a very rough spot. And this is where things could get interesting, because the Ottomans technically should be able to outproduce here and potentially push any sort of initial aggression back. But behind that, getting feudal age would be quite important. Do you see those two spearmen are coming round? The Khan looking to scout out potential angles of attack, and we do have just this one wood line on Gorge. So that could be a bit of a concern for Marinelord to deal with, because of course the tower in this position could be a bit strategic there for Beastyqt. We shall see what he decides to do. The villager is indeed heading around the right side, and there is gold veins there that could be denied, which is a little bit concerned for the Ottomans, because they need to have a think about where they're going to get their gold from. There is a gold vein, two gold veins in fact, on the west and the northwest of the map, so that could be an option for Marinelord to explore and decide where he wants to get that gold from. Looks like the outpost there initially not going to go to affect the wood, but rather the two gold veins. So basically is going to be wanting to delay the Ottomans getting up to the next stage slightly. Here's a couple of sheep being brought back there from the Ottoman scout. Three spearmen going to be pushing the Khan away a little bit. But as you can see, the spearmen play here quite strong for both players, and I think if you're the Mongols, actually, this forces you in a situation where you're going to have to be going up to the feudal age and just cutting your losses, because effectively you'd be constantly producing these spearmen. You can double produce for a short period of time, because of course you will be running out of stone to double produce from the Uvu as Marinelord decides to delete that mining camp, and we'll need to send those villagers elsewhere to get gold. It does lose a spearman there, Beastyqt, which was not part of the plan, I'm sure. Spearman going forward for Marinelord. He's going to pressure the Uvu and the barracks, and he's going to say, well, look, if you're going to be committing some spearmen around my base, I've got reinforcements coming. I'm going to pressure your Uvu, and that's what he's doing. Going to send 6 spearmen there, forcing Beastyqt to produce more spearmen. Don't forget, meanwhile, the Ottomans have been getting spearmen for free, so with this spearman spam, this constant spearman spam, it does mean the Ottomans should get to the next stage a bit quicker. Having said that, Beastyqt's Mongols does look like he is itching a bit closer to that next stage compared to the Ottomans. Has got 200 gold already in the bank. Spearmen there, putting pressure on the Uvu. Beastyqt waiting to engage, doesn't want to engage just yet, waiting for another double production of spearmen. And then the north, that's where Marinelord will be getting his gold. Sends 4 villagers there, and that's unfortunately not something that Beastyqt can see. He's bringing his Khan back to join the fight, and that means he won't be able to actually spot that. I'm not sure if Beastyqt is aware of that situation. He doesn't actually have the north scouted, as you can see. He can't see any of that. There is that gold being taken and extracted. An outpost looking to be put down on that wood line as an extension of the initial outpost. Spearmen are on hand. The scout needs to be careful there from Marinelord. He needs to get out of there, otherwise he risks losing the scout. But he notices just in the nick of time, and that is huge, because the scouts are so important for the scouting information, of course. And that villager could be at risk. Let's just see if Marinelord decides to commit. Does get a few hits on the villager, decides to back off from there. He needs to delay that outpost going up as a couple more spearmen come back for Marinelord. Beastyqt getting up to the next stage though with deer stones. 6 villagers building that landmark. Slowly but surely, Marinelord is going to be getting to the next stage as well. Going up with the twin madrase, purposefully built on this side of the landmark, because of course the berry bushes do actually spawn in the north section of that. And so that would be the shortest distance to be able to run away with those villagers should he need to. He's going to be falling back to this outpost now, Beastyqt, and that villager being idled for now. On the back of this, I'm expecting to see some rangers there for Beastyqt. We will see. He's going to build an outpost in that position. Oh, he thinks better of it. Decides to cancel that and That's an issue. Mehter coming out for the Ottomans. Use the Vizier points there, Marinelord, to get that Mehter, and there's going to be increasing the attack speed and the movement speed of these units. And that's actually hugely significant. I mean, you may be thinking about the Yam network and the Mongols, but the Mehter actually does the same amount of movement speed increase. So the villager's going to try and repair that Uvu and try and keep it alive for as long as possible. The Spearman will take care of that. Hardened Spearman upgrade will be looking to be coming in through for the barracks and comes out a good time there. Looks like Villager going to try and get another outpost on that wood line, but should be pushed back. Marino does lose his scout though, that is pretty big. It will be Hardened Spearman versus regular Spearman, but 3 versus 1 and Town Center adding into the fight. It should be a fight that Marino wins. It's going to pressurize this villager, and Villager probably shouldn't be able to get that outpost up in the end. The Uvu does go down, and next will be the barracks. Mehter still there. Mehter needs to be careful not to be sniped by those spearmen. Quite a lot of spearmen there for the Mongols. This is all investment from resources coming in from the Mongols. Ottoman's getting some of these units for free. He's going to head away here, Marino, try and cut his losses and head back. And needs to be careful not to get the Mehter too far away. Oh, yeah, he brings it back in time, and those spearmen should be able to escape. Outpost goes down. And there's still one more outpost here, but no... he does have arrow slits as well as an emplacement there, so Marino will want to think about taking that down. And what should be a consideration for Beastyqt is he knows his opponent is in the feudal age. He must have got his gold from somewhere. If he's denied these 2 gold veins, where else could he be getting gold? And it's got to be either the north or the south, or the north and the east rather. Nothing scouted there yet though. Army pulling away for both players as we head into the 8th minute into the game, and there's an archery range and a blacksmith putting down there for the Ottomans. That will increase the production speed of all these production buildings. Also a stable, so the Ottomans are going to be looking to be very aggressive in the feudal age. Outpost is going to be going up shortly with a couple of villagers being sent there. Wheelbarrow will be coming in shortly for Beastyqt, but Marinelord has pipped him to the post on that upgrade. He'll be getting it first. Okay, Spearman going to head towards this twin minaret, past the twin minaret madrasa and take out this outpost. Might lose a few. Probably likely to lose 1 spearman, but he wants this map control back, and more importantly, it will deny the vision for Beastyqt, because of course there is gold here, protected by an outpost. So Marino stabilizing, and it does feel like the Ottomans are pretty adept at defending the Mongols' outpost rush. One of the most, I believe, hated strategies, at least in most levels of play for Age of Empires. For, of course, the professional players are very accustomed to this strategy being used, and from here, it's an interesting one, because meanwhile Ottomans are constantly streaming up new units from the military school for free. Looking to get a secondary military school there. Has got some villagers on stone, but the spearmen there pushing that back, and I suspect we'll see the villagers trying to build another military school again and try and extend that military lead. 14 to 11 so far in the early stages of the game, and we're not going to try and cut that off, but he won't be able to. Maneuver arrow makes a move there with the Khan, and aggroes the wolf. So I hope you guys are enjoying the casted sets, and I have casted the other semi-final, of course. No spoilers in case you haven't seen it, but right after this we're going to be having the grand final for this Red Bull Wololo Legacy $300,000 tournament. Super exciting, and this Red Bull Wololo Legacy tournament has been fantastic. The best players, the finest players of Age of Empires 4 all coming together in the LAN event and fighting it out for a $300,000 prize pool. Bull has been aggroed by the Mongols and be causing a bit of HP loss on the units, but this should be cut off now. A couple of archers there for the Ottomans should take out most of these spearmen, especially with the Mehter there. But one thing that Beastyqt is doing well here is keeping Marinelord's army away from his base, giving himself to try and stabilize. Does lose a scout there, so nice pick off. Considering he's going to lose the army anyway, Beastyqt does get a good trade with the scout at least. On the back of this, Beastyqt is possibly thinking about going to the Castle Age. That does indeed seem to be the case. Look at the food and gold. Yeah, likely to be going up with the Step Redoubt. We'll have to watch and wait. That is the case, Step Redoubt. And in the meantime, it looks like Marinelord is a lot further away from that possible tech up. He might need to try and stabilize here and get a bit of a standing army to try and facilitate his own tech up. Going for another 3rd military school, and you know, having 2 archer ranges, stable and barracks does have a lot of production unit buildings to produce those units for. He does need to survive here because he won't want to be overshadowed by a Castle Age army. Could be the case. It'll be stable. That's what Beastyqt is choosing to do, going for lancers maybe. Separate out, going up with 13 villagers. Really looking to get to that next stage. Struggling on the gold, but obviously that'll change once the gold income comes in from the step redoubt. As that tech up now, Marinelord will be thinking about these following options. It looks like he's going to be looking to be aggressive, but 31 military versus 1. Beastyqt doesn't really have much of a standing army. That is a bit of a concern. This forward position is going to be taken out. We've talked about it before on the channel. When you tech up to the next stage, that can potentially be when you're most vulnerable, when Ottomans have been getting free units and they're going to torch down these infrastructure to take down the outpost and the Uvu, possibly even the barracks, because if that barracks doesn't pack up, or even if it does pack up, the units might just get us around. Ottomans might kind of surround that barracks and stop it retreating, but he just clicks on it at the wrong time, and that barracks should end up going safe home. Bit of a missed opportunity there for Marinelord. A couple of man-at-arms do pop out, but just clearly not enough. And when you think about 36 military to 3, and behind this I suspect Marinelord will be thinking about that tech up. He's got quite a few villagers on wood. Or needs to transition a couple onto food, and there is those berries there on the north, protected by the outpost, so I suspect some of those villagers will be heading that direction. Yeah, indeed, 9 of them. Uvu gets taken apart. Not much stone left there anyway. There's a couple of lancers possibly going to wrap around. Beastyqt does have some pocket economies here on the east side. The deer patch and the berries. Bring on replacements coming in the outposts. Also taking the ball. I'm going to have a quick check on where the armies are, because there they are. There's Marinelord's army heading in the south, and not being able to get too much more damage or value next to that capital town centre. It's going to head north potentially. Going to start making some rams. Has invested in siege engineering, and this is a nice option. Going to be looking to cause some pressure and pain. Beastyqt only has 3 man-at-arms and 2 lancers, so there should be enough to deal with that for the Ottomans. Looking to get iron under mesh now. Beastyqt heading forward with the lancer, looking to try and push away reinforcements. Spearman does get taken down. Sipahi coming out of the military schools now, all 3 of them. So we'll be able to tank a lot with those cavalry units as the rams are heading west now. Lagging behind this ram, this could be pretty exposed to being cut off and sniped as the military, the Ottomans, goes towards the boar. 5 villagers are stuck there. Those guys are going to be goners, because those Sipahi and spearmen will burn that outpost to the ground, and the archers will be there to sweep it up. There's not enough military for Beastyqt to engage. He needs more. 5 man-at-arms, 3 knights, which will take care of the ram actually. Armoured units take care of the ram for free. That's a bit of a loss there for Marinelord. Does invest in another ram. Beastyqt picking off and doing what he can, but he needs more army. And he needs it fast. 38 military to 11, and behind this, look at the resources count from Marinelord. He's going to be looking to get to that castle age very shortly. The concern for Beastyqt is that army from Marinelord is heading towards that Uvu and that barracks, and those 2 production buildings are gone. Village are going to be hiding out in the stealth forest, looking to survive. This is great value from Marinelord. He's taking resources out of the game for Beastyqt. 150 wood here on the barracks, and Uvu not being able to get any more further stone. Rammel coming in to join in, and one thing for Beastyqt is does gives him a bit more time. Buys him a bit more time to build up the military lead, or at least with castle age units, but with Marinelord heading towards that castle age himself, and going likely with the Mehmed Imperial Armory, we'll be able to get the siege engines on the battlefield. Speaking of battlefield, looks like these knights are trying to get onto the battlefield and move further towards that Ottoman Empire base. There's the Mehmed Imperial Academy, going to be going up with a decent number of villagers here, 13. And I think it's going to be all hands on deck after that. Villager lead 52 to 43. Quite sizable there for the Ottomans, and meanwhile, don't forget, he's getting units for free. Sipahi coming out of the military school for free. Knight's going to get some value, does take a charge out on the Sipahi, but Marinelord is now aware of the situation. Knights might head towards the north. There is an outpost there, a good number of villagers, 13, might need another static defense, another outpost, not enough space for those villagers. It's going to move a lot of the villagers away. It's going to head west. But that could be a big pick off there for the Mongols if he manages it. All villagers end up heading that way. He sees where the knights are going, so good use of the army to keep an eye on where things are. Sipahi noticed the berry pickers there on the south. And there's that castle age for Marinelord. 23 military to 44. Looking to get some upgrades, I suspect. He's going to be getting veterancy for his Sipahi. And we'll be getting bloomery soon from the blacksmith. The knights trying to head in towards that northern position. There will be some casualties with villagers. They're going to need to garrison inside the outpost, but Lancers are going to wrap around on the villages and gold. In fact, Marinelord deciding not to garrison them, keeps on picking up the food and berries. Oh, he's heading south. Marinelord's going to ignore this. A lot of archers there. Need to be careful not to be sniped out by the man-at-arms. Villagers are staying, sending a couple of spearmen down the north. Marinelord keeping a few. Engages. Is going to pull away here for the from the man-at-arms. A good sizable number of them. 2 outposts though on the south, protecting their deer carcasses. And the Lancers will go down eventually. In the north, the engagement happens. Spears take out a couple of the Lancers, and good usage of the army there by Marinelord, splitting them up and making sure he can take an effective trade in the north. Spearmen need to head away from the man-at-arms mass, and wonder whether there's will be some crossbows. That feels like the army that he needs here. He is indeed getting some crossbows from the archery range and upgrading his archers. Villagers come out to gather food again, and a couple of Lancers pick off villagers on the woodline. That woodline was looking sparse already. It's a scouting falcon used by the Khan. The Khan does go down. Lancers are being pushed away, but look at the military, 49 to 28. Well, the military here for Beastyqt focusing on the outpost. I think you might be able to take one outpost, but nothing more. The outpost is on fire. Villagers should be able to retreat because there's army here, so Beastyqt can't focus on the villagers. He needs to focus on the military. There are quite a few spearmen in the mix and archers as well, and this isn't really a fight that you feel like Beastyqt can take. He's engaging. A couple of Lancers being peeled off on the right side. Villagers being pushed forward. I think he's trying to bait them. Trying to bait the army. He's going to he's going to go back to the deer carcasses, but man-at-arms not enough in army numbers here, and that's a big clear up for Marinelord. Lancers heading the north. We have to get some more raiding value on that woodline. Will Marinelord notice that and pull those villagers away? Doesn't look like it. On the west, there is a bit of raiding there, but villagers garrison inside the second outpost that's now built, so there's enough space there for the villagers to hide. That's exactly what happens. Lancers not getting more value, and the army possibly here from Marinelord going to push forward. 51 to 15 military, 53 villagers apiece, and this is going to start to spiral out of control, you feel. Beastyqt in game number 1 is struggling playing as the Mongols. Arguably one of the most weakest civilizations at the moment, especially it seems like the Ottomans are countering them well, and a few crossbows in the base will be sniped out by the Lancers. There is a ram there as well that Marinelord needs to be careful not to lose too cheaply. The Sipahi will be taken out easily. There is one crossbow, that's not going to be enough. Spearmen coming out as well on the front lines though. The army from Marinelord, he smells blood, he's trying to head forwards. There's an outpost in that position. In fact, he heads a couple of Lancers down the north of the Mongols. Where is that army for Marinelord? That's a big question. Heading down south now. That's where their army is. And he spots the deer carcasses. He's going to head that direction now. There is an outpost. Might look to take that out. There's not much else there. This is buying time for Beastyqt. I think Marinelord probably should just ignore this. In any case, back at home, he does have a market to rebalance that economy. 64 military to 16. It's incredible. I feel like Beastyqt is struggling as well, not being able to really make use of the Uvu as much as he wants to, perhaps. Well, 700 gold, stone rather. Clearly hasn't been able to double produce in the army. I think that's part of the problem here. Wololo going to be going off, trying to get the Sipahi. Doesn't manage it. Sipahi escape in time. In the north, Lancers, it's actually man-at-arms this time. The man-at-arms trying to get value. There's the Vizier point being activated for Marinelord. It'd be exciting to see what he got. Maybe the ability to make another military school, maybe. In any case, he's heading towards the north and the south of the base, and the Ubu again under pressure. Has 2 relics behind this though, Beastyqt. That'll help with the relic gold income, but that's under pressure already. Look at the army here, 71 to 15. Marinelord really going to start to overwhelm very soon, and that blacksmith goes down. The prayer tent does pack up and leave, but will it get away? It doesn't, it's trapped. And that's going to go down. The relic gold going to be stopped here. Step Redoubt going to be unpacking as well. Gold has been taken. And it's going to need to go to further pocket economies. But where does he go for the gold? Perhaps towards the north. That's being raided by the Sipahi now. Sipahi are everywhere. The Ottomans are going to be taking down the Mongols who feel in game number 1. He's struggling here, Beastyqt, in game number 1. The munition number just too high here from Marinelord. And they do have Castle Age upgrades. Veterancy for the archers. Veterancy for the spearmen, and veterancy for the Sipahi. It's very interesting because it doesn't really seem like it's being producing any sort of highly armoured units here, the Ottomans. Just taking advantage of the military school, building up those military numbers as he scaled up to that castle age. And then he gets the veterancy upgrade for them. And there it is, there's the GG. Beastyqt taps out for game number 1. Marinelord off to a flyer in this semi-finals. It is a best of 5, so there's definitely a chance for Beastyqt to come back. Let's just see what he can do in game number 2. Moving on to game number 2, which will be on Boulder Bay. We've got Beastyqt playing in the south, in blue as the Rus, and in the north, Marinelord playing in yellow as the Abbasid dynasty. We've seen some really quick games when it comes to the Rus being played on Boulder Bay. And it's been an interesting journey with Age of Empires 4 and the water situation. The new naval rebalance. I don't know, it seems like the Rus is often thought about as an awkward pick for hybrid maps, but I think on Boulder Bay this could be a big play by Beastyqt, so there's a couple of things to consider here. The Beastyqt Dynasty do get cheaper docks, which certainly helps them dock nice and early, but the Rus have this special ability about converting their fishing ships into military ships. We saw it before the start and the initial release of Age of Empires 4, how kind of broken it was, and you build up a couple of fishing ships and they immediately convert into attack ships in the feudal age, and then you kind of over swarm your opponent, you take out fishing ships, and then you get galleys behind archer ships and you do a lot of damage. Now compared to the Beastyqt Dynasty as well, because they don't get sort of major eco bonuses in the early game here, I feel like they struggle in some ways more than others in maps like Boulder Bay. For example, the Holy Roman Empire can get up to the feudal age and also maintain an economy on water very easily, because of the 40% gather speed for the prelate, but the Beastyqt Dynasty don't have that, and the Rus can get up to the next stage very easily and very quickly when you consider that they get gold from bounty. They get the gold from the deer pack, and as you can see, no villagers need to invest on gold in the early game for the Rus to get up to the feudal age. Typically, you'd often send about 3 to 4 villagers on gold, and so those 3 to 4 villagers can focus on food, can focus on wood to get the fishing ships out nice and early. Now, what that all results into is an early feudal age, or an earlier feudal age comparatively, and that's what this is. It's a game of counters, a game of comparison to what your opponent's doing. So the Rus getting up to the next age in the feudal age quicker than the Beastyqt Dynasty, most likely, in fact inevitably, means that they can be very strong and they can overwhelm. They get the first attack. Now you could get some defender's advantage, but the trouble is that when you're in Dark Age versus feudal age, it can be very tricky. And interestingly enough, the Beastyqt Dynasty going for a double dock, and that's going to delay his uptime to the feudal age even further there for the Marinelord, and he needs to invest in wood for a House of Wisdom, which he doesn't even built yet, which is it's understandable 3 minutes into the game, and it's going to be a struggle one, because especially with the second dock, I worry about this. Just from a theoretical point of view, it obviously depends what Beastyqt does and how he plays it as he scouts that second dock. Beastyqt probably be licking his lips right now because he knows his opponent's investing in the second dock. Means his uptime will be even delayed even further. 2 fishing ships out there for the Rus, 400 food per minute almost there compared to the 238, and that just paints a picture for you already. And of course, Beastyqt able to get more villagers on wood and food to try and get to that next stage. Doesn't have any villagers on gold, and he doesn't need it. Marinelord does only have 2 villagers on gold, but he's going to need 2 villagers on gold for quite a period of time now to get to that next stage. At the very least, at least 2 minutes at least. And there's the Golden Gate. That's going to be used with 7 villagers, and what Beastyqt might even do is drop a wooden fortress to boost up the wood income by 20%. And don't forget, the Golden Gate tickets can be used to double down on the resource efficiency and just get what he needs. And there are 4 fishing ships here now, Lodger fishing ships. I wouldn't be surprised to see these guys be converted as he gets that next stage and sends them forward. We'll have to see. 3 fishing ships there, and a good number here for the Beastyqt Dynasty, 10 in total, but the problem is that that's going to be eviscerated very soon, and I think we're going to be seeing the plan come to fruition here by Beastyqt, how strong the early game on water maps like this that the Rus will be, because Marinelord hasn't even clicked the next stage yet, and it'll take him a full 1 minute 40 seconds. There you are. 1 minute 40 seconds. This is looking rough. It's going to take him a 1 minute 30 seconds. That's a long lead time there for Beastyqt to be in the feudal age. There it is. There's that feudal age now for Beastyqt. Will we see fishing ships going forward? And that's exactly what happens. They're slower. The oars are out, and that means they're being converted. And behind this, I think we're going to see some galleys as well. He's going to send 2 of them. They're so close. These 3 fishing ships are goners. There's no way that Marinelord can defend this. He's going to have to try and garrison them in fact. The only way potentially is perhaps if he can get some arrow slits, but again, the galleys, the attack galleys are just going to keep focusing, and I mean the fishing ships will dock inside, but this is idle time caused. I feel there's a lot of wood investment into these fishing ships. There's villagers being brought around now in the north, and this is painful. This is going to be difficult for Marinelord to fight this off, and the ships come out again, and it's still a minute there, almost 50 seconds to deal with this. 3 galleys now are out and about. Going to be focusing on the scout. 3 fishing ships are idled. This villager, I'm not sure what she's going to be up to though. What's she up to? In any case, the fishing ships. Oh, he's going to send 1 galley there again to pressurize, and on the east. And the fishing economy completely idled there. And we see, I think we're going to see more galleys. Yeah, we're going to see more galleys coming out as well. He is housed there, Beastyqt, just for now. As we see another dock coming in there. That's another group of wood that Marinelord is focusing on, well, he's spending. He does have plenty of wood, to be fair, as he should pick off this one fishing ship. Bit of micro there by Marinelord, trying to avoid the arrow fire. Doing a decent job at it, but we'll lose it eventually, and he's just buying himself some time, really. But yeah, this dock is completely idle, and then Marinelord has lost water. Losing water with larger fishing ships, this economy will be huge. Second dock is going to be there for Beastyqt. Game number 2, Beastyqt now looking dominant. There's that fuselage now for Marinelord, 6.5 minutes, but he's already pushed off water so bad. And we might even see some demolition ships or springle ships coming out for Beastyqt, but he needs to take care of the docks, because he won't want any way for Marinelord to come back into the game, as he's looking to get double broad axe as well behind this. Looks like it was the economic wing and in the House of Wisdom efficient production coming, villager fresh foodstuffs rather, for the Beastyqt, so reducing the cost of villagers by 50%. But he's been pushed off water, and that is huge. There is now a Bagler coming out, springboard ship, 2 of them, and this is a fight that Beastyqt can take in large numbers. We talked about how actually that the archer ships don't trade too badly in large numbers against small numbers of springboard ships, and he has a demolition ship as well, so I think if this gets wiped out, that'll be a problem. There is a demolition ship there, and he's going to hit it. If he can take out the Bagler, that would be important. Looks like he's about to. Oh, okay. Nope. That went out there, the demolition ship. Not ideal, but 2 more come in, and 1 for each Bagler will take this out. 1 demolition ship detonates, and the other, and that takes up the 2 Baglers there. And there it is. There's the GG. Beastyqt evens out the set in this best of 5. We are going to a 3rd game, and this series is heating up. Hold your horses, ladies and gentlemen. It is 1-1. 4 Lakes is the map for game number 3. In this semi-final set between Marinelord, who's playing in the southwest in yellow as the Rus, and in the northeast we've got the Holy Roman Empire being played by Beastyqt in blue. And 4 Lakes, an interesting map, has been banned a lot in Red Bull Wololo Legacy, but we're seeing it today as the dock goes up on the west side for the Rus. And since the new patch, you know, the Rus don't get gold for sheep anymore, and so getting that second scout is a little bit less valuable for them early on in terms of the from the hunting cabin at least. Certainly extra scouts can be made through the town centre, and therefore saving that extra wood that you normally expend on a hunting cabin can be translated into a dock there on the west side to get that dock up nice and early. The Holy Roman Empire have a fantastic economy, known to be very strong on hybrid maps, and it's certainly one of Beastyqt's strongest civilizations. You see him play it time and time again, and I think he's even gone on record to say that, you know, this is one of the strongest civilizations for him. But going up against the Rus, late game can compete very well against the Holy Roman Empire, so it does feel like maybe there's a power spike for Holy Roman Empire in the Castle Age, where he might look to do some damage. I certainly wouldn't want to have the Rus getting up to the Streltsy combination in the late Imperial Age. Could become a battle of relics as well, considering relics. We do have 3 in the north. Relatively nicely situated there for Beastyqt in some ways. But there are 2 relics on the south as well. This one pretty nice there for Marinelord. And the Rus do get the Abbey of the Trinity landmark to get up to the Castle Age. Could be an option for Marinelord's Rus to get that those warrior monks out onto the field to grab as many relics as possible. I'll be curious to see what Beastyqt does to get up to the Castle Age, whether he goes for the Regnus Cathedral or whether he goes for the Burger Palace. No, to get to Castle Age, Holy Roman Empire are typically known to be incredibly fast at doing so. But when you're investing in water like this, the Rus can have a very good comparative uptime because of the fact that the larger fishing ship is super efficient at dropping off food. In fact, doesn't even have to travel to the dock anymore to drop off that food, so it can be very efficient. They are double the price, and they do take longer to train though to compensate. Be interesting to discuss on this map as well what happens to the north and the southern ponds, whether either player decide to challenge for it or not. As we head into the 3rd minute of the game. I hope you guys are enjoying the casted sets of Red Bull Wololo Legacy so far. I've certainly enjoyed looking at the game's theory crafting, breaking down the civilizations and how they seem to play each out. Certainly, for Season 3 for Age of Empires 4, things are looking very, very nice in terms of gameplay. So, of course, the largest ever tournament for Age of Empires 4 Red Bull Wololo Legacy, a $300,000 prize pool, and 2 of the top players we're seeing today competing it out for that space in the grand final. I have casted the other semi-finals, I won't spoil it of course, and I mean technically this matchup, Marinelord versus Beastyqt, by many could be considered a grand final in itself. Like, these 2 players are number 1 and 2 seeds, so Expecting to see them in the grand final, but Marinelord did have a couple of hiccups in the early stages of Red Bull Wololo Legacy. Meant that it changed the brackets a little bit, and he did lose to Iron Magic in that first opening series, I believe. And that was a fantastic performance by Iron Magic, who did get to the top 8, and consequently now Marinelord does look like he's getting a bit more comfortable with the main stage now. Has been performing very well up to now after that first set. I suspect he was pretty disappointed by that, and there is that wooden fortress. Will be boosting up the wood income for the Roos, 20% extra added. Will certainly help a little bit to negate the 40% that comes out for the prelate efficiency speed. The village gather speed rather. We'll be investing in another lumber camp. Neither player going to that next stage just yet, but they are itching towards it. Plenty of gold coming in for Marinelord. Look at that, 340 gold purely because of hunt and bounty. No villagers on gold, so that really does help their economy as villager is being sent south for Marinelord. Looking to see if we can get a dock here potentially on the southern border. And we'll be going up with the Golden Gate for villagers on that case, as we see on the north. Beastyqt has expanded its fishing economy, getting 2 fishing ships and walling up here just to prevent a redocking. There's a scout here being sent by Beastyqt. Will we see a villager kind of trying to contest the southern pond or not? Let's just double check. Yep, that is the case. There is a villager on the way, and Beastyqt has walled up here on the eastern pond just to avoid an enemy dock going down as well. You'll potentially still get one here, Marinelord, but it's right next to his opponent, so very, very unlikely to happen. Dock going up there in the south, the villager, but the scout spots that for Beastyqt, and he's going to look to try and deny that, and the villager might head that way as well. It could be a scout and a villager versus a scout. We shall see. Marinelord scout not really in the way. There he is. There he is. There's Marinelord scout going to be heading south, I think. Paths cross, but Marinelord doesn't really have much HP on the scout. 53, 54. Relatively weak, and the villager heading on the east part of the pond there from Marinelord, looking to maybe put some palisades to stop his opponent docking. Where is that villager that was coming here? There it is. Paths will cross, and this could be big. Marinelord will take a fight here, try and fight this villager off a little bit, but the scout coming in by Beastyqt, and this is not a fight that Marinelord can take. He's low on HP, he has to back off. Beastyqt could just put a dock here, but I'm surprised he's actually going to try and move the dock closer to on the west. I'm not entirely sure why. He's going to have a comparatively relatively even feud age time, but he doesn't have the dock up and running yet, so this actually is not, I'm not sure about this play by Beastyqt. He's gonna, this is a struggle, and look at that, Marinelord putting a palisade wall so that Beasty can't put a dock there. I think Beasty got a bit greedy here. He's gonna try and get a dock in this position, but Marinelord just needs to put a palisade and he can't, and that's the big loss. And villager idle time here, no dock here in the southern pond now, and Marinelord has held this apart. He's held the he stopped the dock coming up for Beastyqt, and that villager is idled. That's not how we wanted to play this. The Arkan Chapel here on the front lines near the 2 wood lines. This is a bit of a rough spawn here for Beastyqt, it has to be said. 2 wood lines there. It will help for the initial gather, but if this is pressurized by Marinelord, that could become a problem as the game develops now into the mid-feudal age, or well, just started in the feudal age, but we will very shortly get into the mid-feudal age, and we might see some pressure here. Now, we do see stables and archery ranges coming out for the Roos, looking to be aggressive. Maybe some early knights could help here. A lot of food to be had here on the north part of this base. Alright, 2 docks apiece. One for Marinelord, one for Beastyqt. Arkan Chapel is garrisoned with the prelate. Oh, just out of the range though for the villagers on Cheap, of which there aren't any. That doesn't matter too much. It is the Burger Palace, so Castle Age will be coming in for Marinelord very soon as well. Just about to click up to the next stage. It's going up with Abbey of Trinity there, Marinelord, and Beastyqt going for the Burger Palace. Is this something that Marinelord sees? I suspect that scout spotted that. Let's just check. Yeah, he sees the Burger Palace, and how will Marinelord react to this? Now, the fact that he's playing as a Rooster actually kind of helps. The Knights can kind of hold their own a little bit, but the trouble is those Castle Age man-at-arms will still win fights. Marinelord needs to hold on. He needs to send army here. He needs to keep those man-at-arms here. This is a smart play. Marinelord's sending an early knight, and this will force Beastyqt to try and defend this position. And Marinelord's going to force those man-at-arms to stay at home, and that's key because those man-at-arms at home for Beastyqt is going to be a lot less potent than if it's running riot in the base of the Roos. And Abbey of the Trinity will let the warrior monks come out to pick up relics, and that, you know, it's an interesting choice because This clearly shows the intent for Beastyqt. He's not going for the Reckless Cathedral, not wanting to play that super ultra late game where the Rus possibly could dominate the HRE. And instead he wants to finish the game off quickly, but look at this, very key play here. Man-at-Arms being drawn here. The Knight has the mobility. And this Man-at-Arms could be halfway across the map by now, but it's not because he's trying to defend. Well, he has to defend. As a Villager does go down to an early Knight. Prelate looking to heal up, but you know, losses have been had. Scout might go down, but just keeps the Scout alive for now. Well, the Scout will go down now, though. Bit rough there for Marinelord. Bit of a mismicro by his high standards, getting the upgrade to the Knight now that he's in Castle Age. And overall, things looking good for Marinelord. You know, the HRE, you kind of worried about them to get to that Castle Age quicker, which they did, but not by much. And the Man-at-Arms haven't been able to do too much damage, just trying to hold on to his own base, really. And with the Trinity, we do see a Warrior Monk coming out, going toward the south to pick up a relic or two. And you just get the feeling for your Marinelord, you might want to pressurize this. Let's just see what he decides to do, how he tries to play this one out, because that center of the map, idling the Ark and Chapel for a while really could help. And a couple of early Knights are now actually Castle Age Knights. Man-at-Arms, this is the time we were talked about. Beastyqt now sending those Man-at-Arms, but it's a bit late because crossbows are now on the field. 2 crossbows, and Marinelord playing this fantastically in game number 3 on 4 legs. He just knows the timings and gets up the Castle Age perfect time, get the Man-at-Arms at home. By the time the Man-at-Arms have actually arrived at the Rus base, it's not a lot of damage they can get. You see some relics being picked up as well. Already 1 in the bank for the Rus. 1 has been picked up for the HRE as well. It does have a monastery. The trouble for the HRE as well, the mobility with the Knights, they will be very effective at denying the relics. Well, 1 has already been grasped by Beastie, so it's good that he's done that. He's managed to do that as Knights head through the south, and as I say that, that's the monk that's got it. Or the Prelate rather. Villager goes down the wood line, maybe even a second. It pulls away with the Knights, and the real Spearman in the position defending. A bit unfortunate there from Marinelord. He probably would have wanted to try and cut off all the relics being brought in by, you know, Beastyqt. So Beastyqt does well to get 1. Trying to wall up in the north part as well, the base, and try and cut off those Knights heading in. The crossbows chase down those Man-at-Arms, and in the south, Man-at-Arms are around that stone pile. Curious to have seen a mining camp on the stone. Looks like it might be a second town centre play by Marinelord. Wants to get some eco on the ground, and crossbows should push this away. Man-at-Arms been split up into 2 groups, and behind this, HRE going for Knights. Prelate there looking to get that relic, but this is a position that Marinelord could deny. He does. He charges and takes a Prelate, and he makes out with it. Still 3 Knights there alive, and he might head home, try and heal up with the Warrior Monk potentially. He's going 4 villagers on stone, could be saving up for a second town centre, possibly keep. He's got plenty of wood, and I think at this point it probably would be worth getting a second town centre, really. 61 economy to 60, relatively even, but you just get the feeling the map control really is in the hands of the Rus with the mobility, and the fact that he's got 2 relics versus 1. It's pretty even now. Beastyqt is holding his own from the initial attack in the feudal age. Concern is that it's mostly Man-at-Arms and infantry, Spearmen and Man-at-Arms, and I just feel like Crossbow Knight beats that. Unless there's a couple of lands connected that could be added in for Beastyqt from Burger Palace, walls will go up. Palace Gate under siege now by a few Knights. Not a lot else going on. Heading into the 13th minute of the game. Relic being picked up there for Rus again, and the Holy Roman Empire. Looking to get that Cycler site in the north, Beastyqt with his Man-at-Arms heading forwards now, and Spearman. Warrior Monk heading home here for the Rus. That would be the 3rd relic. Southern Sacred Site looking to be picked up by Marinelord. And this is the position, this is what we talked about. This is where pressure comes in. 2 villages go down, that is open. And the army could head in here from Marinelord. Wololo going off, nothing happens. Warrior Monk doesn't quite make it home with the relic, but this is where the pressure comes in, and this is idling the Ark and Chapel. This Ark and Chapel is not helping that wood economy. Where does Beastyqt go for getting wood? He doesn't have any... Well, he's got 16 villages on wood, actually. I'm not entirely sure where they are. Possibly in the south. I suspect that is the case. Oh, it's just here. Yeah, it's just here. This is an issue. The Ark and Chapel is not helping him at all here. There is a Prelate there? No. I think they're still buffed up. But they'll lose that buff. They might get some when they deposit the wood in that lumber camp, but look at this pressure coming in from Marinelord. He idled a bit of the economy in the south. There are a couple of Man-at-Arms being chased out, and there's a scout. Scout fight. Oh, Marinelord's getting some value. Actually, mostly Spearman. I don't think Marinelord minds that at all. He'll take that apart and just a bit of idle time, maybe with a couple of villagers, but not more than that. A few man-at-arms dotted in there. A couple of villagers on the woodline will be attacked and harassed, but probably won't lose any because the crossbows are at hand. There's the army from Marinelord. Sets the lumber camp on fire. What's going on in the south? Man-at-arms being sent that way. Beastyqt in all sorts of trouble here. Eco's 61 to 67, and that gap is going to widen if the constant harassment keeps continuing. One thing that has to be said though for Beastyqt is building up the military numbers. If you can get some lance connector out here, he might be able to push this fully back. If he could just push this army back out, he might be able to regain wood control. He's going to head around on the west side with horsemen. Going to try and trap the army. Going to try and pick off reinforcements. This is a smart play by Beastyqt. You can't necessarily take the fight head on, and so he decides to split up the army and push things back a little bit. Crossbows on the front line. Needs to be careful lance connector don't get involved, and there aren't any on the field there yet for Beastyqt, but it's always an option. Horsemen going west and looking to pick off some reinforcements. He knows that he can't take this fight head on, and so he does well to split up an army to try and take out reinforcements. I still have a couple of units here on the north, keeping it secret though, keeping his cards close to his chest, as the villagers are being idled now on the woodline. That's a bit of a problem as a horseman here on the west side, looking to get some raiding value, but this is a lot more idle time being caused. Beastyqt is struggling at this point. The house will not go up. He's going to be holding his own though. But the trouble for Marinelord, he better not, for his sake, dive too deep in, because he could be pushed back quite cleanly here if the military numbers are starting to build up for Beasty. He's got to be careful, Beasty, that he doesn't commit too quickly though. Marinelord certainly has to be careful about not diving in too deep as well. Just keep an eye out. He's going to send a knight deep into the base to see what he can pick and see what information he can get. He's going to head back out though. Horsemen still getting good value here for Beastyqt. They're still alive and kicking, and barracks switch here for man-at-arms potentially. Maybe spears. He does see a couple of horsemen, but not necessarily enough horsemen to commit to that number of barracks. I think it might be man-at-arms. We'll have to see. The north, the horsemen are continuing the chase for both players. As he heads deeper into the base now, Marinelord is diving in for a second time. But look at the military, 62 for Beastyqt. I think he might pounce on this. There are a couple of lance connector there, not many, 2 of them only. Villagers being idle, and this is good play by Marinelord. He's keeping villagers idle, 14 of them. Already has the villager lead. Crossbows getting good value, but it has to head out of there. Villagers have been garrisoned inside the town center, getting good value. Crossbows are going to micro this down. If the lance connector can micro and get on top of the crossbows, that would be huge. But this is a big pushback by Beastyqt. I don't think Marinelord can hold on here. He has to back off. The horsemen pretty redundant in this fight for Marinelord. Those horsemen can't do anything against the spearmen and lance connector. The lance connector getting good value, getting a few hits. The crossbows need to head off, and they're going to get trapped in the front lines. Here's a spread formation, but the lance connector in there, if they can pounce, do huge amounts of damage. And this army from Marinelord having to head back. Horsemen going to try and block the retreat a little bit. Crossbow does get a couple of shots off, but the lance connector will sweep this up. This is not a fight. It might be deceptively looking, but if you know how lance connector work with their area effect damage, the lance connector will win this, and easily and comfortably. And Marinelord knows that he heads back 42 military to 50. Beastyqt getting control of the game again as he pushes this back, and behind this, he might be thinking about getting to the Imperial Age. Plenty of food in the bank. He's struggling with gold, but yeah, no, he's really struggling with gold. 159 gold per minute right now. That Pastor Swabio could help him breach the gap between the villages, and he's taking the fight at the Marinelord. I'm not so sure about this. Spearmen are going to clear up the horsemen, and I think he's taking the engage because he feels like he has to. We'll have some defenders advantage with units coming out, Prelate helping out, but the man-at-arms and lance connector clearly will win this fight, although Beastyqt is losing numbers here. The lance connector getting involved in now, the Prelate helping and healing up the units, but yeah, this is a good fight for Beastyqt overall, keeping his opponent at bay. Lance connector trying to get on top of those crossbows, but houses and buildings getting in the way. But Marinelord losing a lot. Beastyqt reclaiming some control, but behind this, don't forget the Rus have had 3 sacred sites. Sorry, 3 relics rather. Versus the 2. This is very nice expansion potential here. If Beasty can wall up between woodline to woodline, that would certainly help his cause. I mean, a Palace of Swabia here would be absolutely phenomenal. Would have been nice to see a prelate there boosting up the workers. He's got so much going on as he heads into the middle stealth forest and regroups a little bit, bringing the army back home. Has a couple of knights there, and the palisade going around the walls. Need to be careful about overchops, and he's taking care of that position now. There is the Palace of Swabia going in this position. What a fantastic location. Stone, gold, berries, wood. What more could you want? And those villagers will start to pump out, but Marinelord's military looking good numbers, 39, and That's a lot of investment of resources that Beastyqt has just put into the Palace of Swabia. 86 villagers for Marinelord. That economy is no slouch, and there is a man at arms. Villagers going to fight that off, but I think, you know, as Marinelord spots the tech up for Beastyqt, who look to be even more aggressive. This is a nice push by Marinelord. He senses, I mean, this is clearly an interesting play. He was put under pressure here, Marinelord, just a couple of minutes ago. But he has the presence of mind to realise that, well, Beastyqt is not following it up with anything. You know, you often have an attack. Beastyqt came in with an attack, and he wasn't following it up with anything. No military coming in as a second wave. And that can only mean one thing. It means that Marinelord should be expecting Beastyqt to tech up to the next stage, and that's exactly what happens. And that gives the license for Marinelord then to actually push forward a little bit and create more idle time and some more damage. He's going to get some rams, which is a little bit of a tricky one because, of course, the Holy Roman Empire do get emergency repairs, so those buildings should be able to repair themselves. But in any case, the rams are going to be out and about. There is 390 stone in the bank there for Marinelord, possibly looking for a second town centre to try and match the Palace of Swabia, or at least attempt to anyway. We shall see. Village count looking very healthy already. There's going to be a defensive keep for Beastyqt. I don't think that's a position Marinelord can fight really. He's going to delay it a little bit, but the armies do collapse. I mean, the thing is that horsemen should be able to take out a lot of their crossbows. There are spearmen on hand though for Marinelord. Man-at-arms will sweep up everything else, and those range units need to get out of there. He doesn't have the numbers really. Armies trickling in. There is a mangonel on the field though. That will certainly help push back the infantry. That's a nice play by Marinelord. He's going to keep up the pressure, and he needs to, because Marinelord needs to keep up the pressure and then think about Imperial Age himself. Walls, I don't know if that was deleted or destroyed, but in any case, army going to head in. Big mangonel shot, not as big as he would have hoped though for Marinelord. Horsemen going to head in to try and act as meat shields a little bit. Mangonels, walls get deleted. Man-at-arms going to collapse on that mangonel and take that out, and mangonel won't be able to get out. Might be able to get another shot off, doesn't quite manage it. And this is a good cleanup by Beastyqt. It doesn't have the elite upgrades, but this is a good trade by Marinelord. Don't forget, this army for Beastyqt could quite easily be elite units. Oh, there they are. They have been upgraded. I'll take it back. But even then, Marinelord's still holding his own. Got a good number of crossbows that should be able to hopefully hold on for a little bit longer. But they will go down to the elite man-at-arms, you feel. And again, for the second time in the game, Beastyqt going to push that army back. Sprungwald getting involved. The military number still looking strong here from Marinelord. 38 to 24. He's slowly gathering up on the food and the gold income, but in the meantime, Beastyqt printing those villages from the Palace of Swabia. Trouble is, maybe Beastyqt overcommitted just a little bit there. The numbers are dwindling. The reinforcements coming in very fast from Marinelord. Look at the production buildings. That is a lot of barracks there for Marinelord. Quite impressive. That production speed will be very good for him. Doesn't actually have anything coming out there. Has a siege engine coming out from the siege workshop, the mangonel. Plenty of archery ranges as well. As he heads deep into the base, and if we're looking to torch down those buildings, those houses, I mean, Beastyqt can afford it a little bit at the moment because he's nowhere near population cap. But with a couple more rams coming out, those houses going down could become a problem. Relic is being transported to the keep to make it even stronger. It does boost up the armor, attack range, everything about it. The keep just goes a bit crazy and strong. Marinelord quite content just to take out houses and try and make the economy for Beastyqt go into building houses and replace that. So we might potentially see some trebuchets coming out soon for Marinelord. Let's just have a look, see what his siege engines are doing, and yep, that is the case. There's a trebuchet or two. We'll be looking to try and take down that keep, but that keep is really strong at the moment. As you can see, the armor's increased by 50%, damage increased by 35%, sight range increased by 25%, weapon range increased by 20%, and it still gets the gold generation. There's a keep going on the north to protect that gold vein, 8,000 gold. That is a very strategic and strong point of this map, and possibly in the south as well. That could be a point of contention for both players. We'll have to see. Bit of an engagement in the house, and this monastery might go down. That'll cut off gold income. Well, partially anyway, as the mangonel is going to start focus firing on that gate potentially. We'll have to see. It's actually packed up, but trouble for Beastie. He's struggling for wood. He does have a couple of villages here on the north, but that could be pressurized with an outpost or two, and he does have a bit of economy in the south, and he's kind of dividing the base there for Beastyqt there, Marinelord. He's going to slowly breach this gate in the south, and now the Palace of Swabia is going to be under pressure. 60 military to 34. Marinelord really has doubled down. Obviously, being in the Castle Age, he's going to keep up the military numbers, and he's not going to the Imperial Age before too long either. There is a demo ship, but it's not being used. Oh, Beastyqt might lose that. Demolition ship is being healed, but he never gets to use it, the Beastyqt, and now the Palace of Swabi is under pressure. That's the problem. Does have a bit of fishing economy still left, but completely for nothing because the dock's been taken out, and that's huge. That dock being taken out means that fishing economy is going to be halved by Beastyqt. He does have the dock in the north, but that is a huge amount of idle economy. Emergency repairs goes on the outpost, and Beastyqt does hold this now. Marinelord loses the majority of his army, but this just enables him to regroup and go again, because he's going up to the next stage with the high armory. And look at the villager lead. Marinelord actually has a large, sizable difference and an advantage for villagers, and that comes down to the fact that he just piled on so much pressure, despite Beastyqt having access to the Palace of Swabi and printing those villagers. Villager lead very much in Marinelord's favour. And that's going to translate into a better economy, obviously, and it's going to translate into a better army. As we see the high armory going up now, it's going to be making those siege workshops units cheaper. As we start to build up a good number of units here, looks like Marinelord's going to look to get those elite upgrades before he decides to head in with another attack wave. And this gives Beastyqt a bit of time to recover, to build up the economy again as he heads on down the south. And man, arms and spears, and this should be a signal from Marinelord. And that scout being in the south, it should be a signal that Beastyqt might be looking to expand. There's a lot of berry bushes there, and there's an 8,000 gold vein. That could be something that both players want to go after, because gold situation isn't looking too terrible, actually, to be fair, for Beastyqt. There's still, good 4,000 gold there, 3,000 gold there, 7,000 gold. But this one is being taken by Marinelord very comfortably with that keep. Gonna look to put some palisade walls as well to protect the economy. Horseman raid coming in the north. Might take a few villagers out on the gold as the push comes in with a keep. That's a bit of a concerning position. There is an outpost there for Marinelord, so you see this nice and early, and this nice defensive static defense, so that if any army does come forward for Beastyqt, they'll have to be going through that wooden fortress first. It will lose a trebuchet though, so it's a very good pick off by Beastyqt. I think Beastyqt knows he has a bit of a timing window here. He's had Imperial Age for longer, he's had upgrades for longer. These are elite horsemen, but the villager count is very much equalizing as well. The military numbers are pretty equal. And the good thing for the Rus is they have had an opportunity now to upgrade to elite status, and a lot of these units here on the west will be taken down by the elite archers, so nice play here by the Rus. Takes apart a lot of that army, the infantry are going down, and Springwood and placements of these outposts and these wooden fortresses are really helping Marinelord's position. He clears up most of the forces that are coming on the front lines, and it's pretty even on the military count. In the south there's a bit of raiding here, but it's mostly infantry, mostly spearmen. That is a bit of a concern because it's going to be losing a lot of horsemen here, Marinelord. I'm not sure that's a cost-effective trade, but probably just wants to keep engaging. He might even win this somehow. I think it's down to the fact that Marinelord has his own spearmen there as well. Horsemen diving in on that wood line. There is a bombard now coming out from Marinelord. So siege being cheaper, that's actually really significant because this could turn into a big siege game, especially with gold running out eventually. Although we're probably far away from that. A lot of spearmen. You get the feeling Marinelord needs to take into something else, and we talked about it at the beginning of the game. Late game Rus can be incredibly strong with the Streltsy. So we'll be quite keen to see some Streltsy coming out for Marinelord. Doesn't have anything just yet. Outpost goes down. Siege workshop will go down to the keep, and this is a really strategic position. This keep needs to go down if Marinelord is to progress. There is a relic inside there, really boosting it up. That's a concern that Marinelord will have to deal with. Also in the south, there is that expansion now. Marinelord needs to do something about this because Beastyqt is going to get gold unchallenged. He's going to get Wooden Fortress, but he has other pressing issues there. Marinelord can lose his two workshops. Bit of an awkward spot to have put that landmark in the end. I mean, it did mean that the siege engines, when they come out, they will be diving right into the fight. Of course, less distance from travel if comparatively, if they were further back. But he lost both siege workshops there anyway. He snipes the bombard. That's a big boost there. And the town center going on the front lines of Beastyqt. You might be thinking, why would you put a town center there? It means that the keep can have emergency repairs, and that's going to be frustrating for Marinelord. He's almost taking it down, but it won't be quick enough, you feel. Or will it? He's maybe 2 bombards, and he might need to take some villages there. I think he'll manage it. Yeah, the town center goes up and he uses the emergency repairs now. In fact, I think you can do it even if the foundations are there. In any case, in the north, Beastyqt looking to push his position, does have the sacred site in the north as well. That got constant gold trickle will be helpful. 3 relics and 1 sacred site. Archers with their incendiaries upgrade will be taking a lot of valuable HP off those units before they engage even. He certainly wins that fight, Marinelord. Look at the military lead, 63 to 26. Beastyqt is struggling. Doesn't have much food in the bank, and the food economy is not as strong as it once was. He's looking to contest that sacred site, but not for long. Dock has been re-established on the eastern pond, so we'll be getting food income from there again. Has a lot of wood secured, but this is where the pressure is coming on from, and I think Marinelord, I think he's onto it. He realizes that wood slowly might become a problem for Beastyqt. This forward wood line is difficult. But plenty of villages on stone for Beastyqt. Look at that. 1,000 stone per minute coming out, and I think Beastyqt is going to try and stabilize his economy with keeps. As a keep comes out in the south, Beastyqt does lose a keep there, or wasn't able to put one up, and this is a strong push here from Marinelord. Not to be underestimated, 2 berry bushes, but that's not really the issue. You don't really care about berry bushes on 4 legs, but it's mainly the gold and the stone piles. There are 2 stone piles here. This keep is not to be underestimated. That is huge, and it comes at a time where, well, Beastyqt can't contest it. It doesn't have the military. Streltsy coming out from Marinelord as well. That's a late game composition that you just don't want to be facing up against. It's really scary. When those Streltsy numbers build up, they become very difficult to deal with. There are a few units coming out for Marinelord, but he doesn't have much siege. He will need some siege to try and push this keep. But he'll need a lot of siege because he can always tick that little button there, HRE, the emergency repairs. So you might need about 2 to 3 bombards, maybe 4 or 5 trebuchets as the archers picking up villagers on that wood line. And look at this. He is strangling. Marinelord is strangling Beastyqt and keeping him at home. Trying to starve him from wood. Bombards heading forward, a couple of landscapes there as well, but he needs to be careful. Beastyqt doesn't really have the army to protect those bombards, and those bombards might be sniped. Horsemen heading in, underneath the keep even. There are 3 bombards now. How many will go down? That's the question. The archers in the back will be looking to take out a lot of the units there for Beastyqt, whilst he is getting his bombards attacked, and does lose 2 bombards. Will he be able to keep this 3rd one safe and secure? I think he will. Those horsemen won't be able to take it out, and now it's just mostly ranged units. I think Marinelord can't stay underneath this keep. Not with boiling oil. Marinelord losing valuable HP on these units. He has to back out of there. He can't take that fight. As we see, trebuchets coming out now. 2 of them in the south. What's going on? Oh, Beastyqt takes control a little bit with the keep there. And, I mean, this doesn't let Beastyqt take the gold, but he denies the gold from Marinelord. That keep is clutch. The gold villagers will be in range of this keep, and it means that Marinelord has to pull those villagers away. Gonna go for the stone instead. The keep there was good from Marinelord, but it wasn't just full protection on that gold, I'm afraid. But look at the military numbers, 60 to 23. And the villager count pretty even here. Emergency repairs coming out for Beastyqt. The longer the game goes on, don't forget, 3 relics to 2, and has had a sacred site in the north for a while, but now has been lost. So the gold income should be pretty good for Beastyqt, for Marinelord rather. And if we do see some hunting cabins, yeah, I mean the gold trickle here is coming in, 24, not huge amounts, but every little bit helps. Again, heading in with the ranged units. I'm not sure about this for Marinelord. He's going to lose a lot of HP from the boiling oil from the keep, and he does back off now. Mangonel firing off, but he's managing to keep most of the units alive. Horsemen coming out, and the 3 trebuchets now. Wait, 4 trebuchets will be unpacking on that keep, and I don't think Marinelord will be before too long before he takes that out. Beastyqt will be repairing, and he will have access to emergency repairs. Will he click it now? I'm not sure. No, he's on caller. He's just on it. Can he press it? Can he press it in time? That's the question. He's not pressed it yet. He might lose it with this volley. Oh no, yeah, he pressed it but not in time, and he loses that keep in a really strategic position with the Streltsy in the front line, and Beastyqt can't push this back. He does have mangonels, which will certainly help his cause, but those 4 trebuchets take out that keep, and he wasn't able to press the repair button in time. Well, he did press it, but he just lost it because the 4 trebuchet volleys came off on it again, and the emergency repairs didn't give it enough HP to survive that volley. A big army here, Streltsy, and that's the issue. Beastyqt making a lot of spearmen. They can't get close to the Streltsy. That is the problem. The spearmen help against the horsemen, but he needs a counter to the Streltsy, and what do you do up against Streltsy with 4 trebuchets and horsemen acting as a meat shield? The horsemen will be able to snipe out siege in the form of mangonels. The Streltsy will just take everything else out. Horsemen dive on the stone villagers. Villagers will be pulled away, but look at the villager count, pretty high there for Beastyqt. It is at the levels where you start to think, is he over booming? But he's really not, because he's not able to, sustain production with the army that's losing. He doesn't have many resources in the bank, and that goes for both players. Although it has to be said, there's a lot of stone in the bank for the Rus. Oh, intelligent play here. Going to be taking this forward gold here for Beastyqt. He's got 2 keeps. That's going to be hard to deal with. He's going to need to pressurize that position, Marinelord. The stone wall's coming out for Beastyqt there. 2 trebuchets behind palisades. But he's just trying to burn that down. That would take too long. There's no way he's getting through there. I suspect an army will come in to clear that out. Although the keep is actually got cannon placements looking to damage that trebuchet. But he's just coming out and pulled for the repairs. And so that keep goes down. That's on fire. We said how this is a difficult position to push, but he's pushing it, Marinelord. Villagers try and hide away. They try and run. Keep goes down now eventually. There is another keep though. This one will be a bit more difficult to take care of because there is a relic inside. As the army here heading this way for Beastyqt, but the value. This is where the key statistic lies. The army value. At the bottom left, 12,000 versus 7,000. That tells you a picture, and I feel like Marinelord is looking strong in game number 3. Plenty of time left in this game though, you feel. Could go on for another half an hour maybe. We'll have to see. Beastyqt is going to lose a lot of units there. Fighting underneath the keep though, Marinelord, so he'll be losing units too. Marinelord needs to be careful about the mangonel. Loses 2 to 3 Streltsy. He needs to pull away with the next volley. He needs to be careful. Micros. He keeps everything alive on that volley, and that's a nice play by Marinelord. He was paying attention. Horseman coming in from the back, and the spearman numbers are dwindling. Oh, good mangonel shot there though. Oh, that was not such a great bit of micro there for Marinelord. Lost a lot of HP. A lot of the Streltsy are very low in health. And all of them die. In fact, there's only 2 Streltsy left. Mostly of them archers. 3 trebuchets will be looking to take down that keep, and that keep is not going to survive too much longer. No emergency repairs here, it seems. Beastyqt is slowly losing his presence on the map. There is a bombard there looking to take out that keep. That's a nice bit of pushback there. The villagers are repairing. A couple of elite horsemen. Beastyqt is holding his own. And even numbers here. But you just feel like the armor composition, the value, army value is just so far superior for the Rus. Look at the palisade wall this up, and villager count is still at 150 odd for Beastie. But the army numbers keep dwindling, and it just feels like the spearmen are losing so much value. They're not getting value themselves, and they're just dying. They're crumbling. They're crumbling to the archers, they're crumbling to the Streltsy, the siege slowly pushing forward. Trebuchets. Oh, this is looking bad for Beastyqt. How does he hold on from this? Trebuchets taking down the keep just as it's being built. And I don't know if Beastyqt lost the stone there where they deleted it. In any case, that keep will not go up. And the Streltsy in the stealth forest. Now, I'm not sure how much Beastyqt sees. Because in the stealth forest, can he see what he's up against? I don't think he can. He sees the Streltsy here, but he doesn't see anything beyond that. And the wooden fortresses, though, for Marinelord is a complete different issue. Let's have a look. Let's change player positions. Look at that. Marinelord sees everything. It comes down to the outpost positions. In any case, might lose a bombard there. Yeah, the bombard's going to be stomped on by the 4 horsemen. Bombard goes down. And that's an expensive unit to lose. And slowly but surely, Marinelord pushing forward. Beastyqt down to 17. Military bombard is going down. Oh, it's being repaired, but will go down. Wait, might not go down. We'll have to see. The villagers coming out to repair like madmen and women. And bombard survives. But at what cost? The outpost will go down. There's no emplacements in it. And villagers being idled and units are taking apart. Any reinforcements that come in. Streltsy pushing forward as well. They're settling themselves out and shooting. Everything comes down. 20 military for Beastie. Does have bombard that goes down there. I'm not sure what sniped it, but something did. Oh, it's actually a springald there. A springald in the stealth forest. And again, that's just something a Beastie might not see. Have a look. He just doesn't see it. He doesn't see that, I don't think. In any case, archers pushing forward, and I think Marinelord won't mind about losing the archers really. Look at the stone bank he has here, Marinelord. Forward keep drop could be really useful. 38 minutes to the game. What a cracking game number 3. Mangonel shot gets off, but horseman heading that position. A lot of spearmen there for Beastyqt will deal with the horsemen. Another Mangonel. Doesn't get the hit it wants though. Marinelord microing that madly. And Springlord is coming into the fight as well. That Springlord could be very strong to take care of the Mangonel. It doesn't need it. The Horsemen take care of it themselves. 58 military versus 11. That keep's going to be the next thing to go, you feel. Let's just take a look what's happening down the south. Not much. There are cannon replacements in these outposts. The keep did go down. And look at that. The Trebuchet has been working nicely in the south. That keep protecting that Trebuchet. Nowhere that Beastyqt can stop that. And slowly, Marinelord pushing down in the south as well. In the north, or in the centre rather. The archers Streltsy holding on their own, and there is still a bombard. Reinforcements coming in for Beastyqt, but they're coming in just as fast for Marinelord. Look at the eco upgrades that Marinelord has. Marinelord has pretty much every upgrade you could want. Only double broad axe on the wood side of things for Beastyqt. Speaking of wood, he is managing, but struggling with the reserves. Only 129 in the bank, and this is looking rough for Beastyqt. Pushed back even further. The units keep coming out, but they're not able to hold. Now the Trebuchets, 3 of them, focusing on the Ark and Chapel, and there's a lot of farming economy that could be taken out. Not just so much taken out, but the Prelate would be buffing them up, and that's a lot of food economy. Look at the Beastyqt, he does have 3,000 food, it's less than Marinelord's, but he's struggling to maintain production. Only has 400 food in the bank. A couple of horsemen going to be taking out the keep, the Trebuchets though. There are a few villagers building that keep. This is a nice move by Beastyqt to try and protect his Ark and Chapel. I think Trebuchets should go down. No, the horseman numbers aren't enough. There's still 2 Trebuchets there. They'll survive for now. And that keep should go up on the back of this. And that keep drop is important. It acts as a staging ground for Marinelord to push on even further. And Trebuchets again unpacking on that Ark and Chapel. Not sure if emergency repairs will come in time. I think it won't. Another volley, and that Ark and Chapel's a goner. And that farming economy, he's having to repair it. He needs to keep the farming economy alive. But I mean, even if it doesn't go down, he's keeping the economy idle. I think the next volley will take it out. Bombard coming out to focus on the keep, but 27 military to 59, not going to cut it here from Beastyqt. He might just hold on until the emergency repairs for the Ark and Chapel. We shall see, but he won't hold on any longer. Beastyqt taps out. Marinelord takes game number 3. He pulls ahead in the set 2-1 as we head into game number 4. Things are heating up. We are in for a great game coming up next. Stick around. It's coming right up. Welcome back. Game number 3 is going to be on the map Prairie, with Marinelord playing in the southwest corner of this map in yellow as the French. He's going up against the Delhi Sultanate for Beastyqt in blue in the northeast. A rather interesting civilization matchup, and this is going to be a bit tricky because, of course, if Marinelord wins this game, he will be progressing to the grand finals for this Red Bull Wololo Legacy main event. Concern for Beastyqt, he's up against the French, who have an incredibly high win rate on this map, and it's largely down to the fact that there's a lot of scarce wood lines that are very, just have a look. Where are they exactly? They are just really dotted around. There are very few of them, and they're so far out, and this certainly really... Wait, what was behind that wood line? Oh, that was a sheep. Okay. Anyway, speaking of which, they're so far out and so scarce and sparse that it really favours the civilization of mobility. And well, the concern for the Delhi Sultanate is that they often go for quite heavy infantry units, or armor compositions rather. They can often go for horsemen as well, but the French really get going in terms of the eco as well. I feel this is a difficult matchup for Delhi Sultanate on this map, really considering the map. But if there's one player that can pull it off, it will be Beastyqt, who's going up with the efficiency of production. That could help him boost the number of units that he pulls out of those production buildings as soon as he can, and it's getting a decent amount of food income now from the berries. But not only is it that the French are incredibly strong, we have to think about the players that are playing them. Marinelord's French, for a long time, he has played the French a lot, and he has pretty much mastered this civilization. Most people will say, well, I suppose pro players do master all of them, but there's just something special about Marinelord and his French play. Going out now with gold. 4 villagers on that gold vein. We'll be looking to get to the next stage pretty quickly there. Marinelord. Beastyqt's Delhi is, again, it's a little bit slow to get going, the Delhi Sultanate. And so he's a lot further away from that tech up. Does have enough gold here, Beastie, so should be looking to get to that next stage relatively soon. But we will see. There's that school of cavalry being placed down with 4 villagers, so we'll be going up soon. And Delhi will be there on the way soon. It'll be interesting to see what the landmark of choice is. It usually is the Dome of the Faith. Will we see anything crazy here today with the Tower of Victory? Quite possibly. I mean, he's going to need something crazy here, the Delhi Sultan, to come up against the French on Prairie. But he has got his back against the wall, actually, because it's 2-1 now currently in the set. And if Marinelord takes this victory, that will make it 3-1. And of course, there's no further matches to be played. It's going to be the Tower of Victory. We have not seen this landmark in a long time. And Beastyqt trying something out of the box here on Prairie. It's going to be able to get a lot of infantry with buffed up with attack speed. 20% attack speed on those infantry could come helpful in terms of getting those spears. Spears archer combination could be useful. The real concern I have for Beastyqt is not so much the army composition, but the map. The map being so open, going infantry, I mean Tower of Victory as well, it only applies to infantry units, which suggests, I mean, there's no reason why I can't place a stable and use a stable, but obviously he wants to maximize the bonus of that, the Tower of Victory, and so might look to get, spearmen and archers. Trouble with that, those are very non-mobile units, and when you think about the French, all you think about is French knights, and those are incredibly mobile units that will be coming out of the School of Cavalry, and that could put on a lot of pressure. I mean, if you think about it, as the game develops, it's got this wood line here on the north at the moment, but where is he going to go for wood next? That's the big question. Because anywhere near here, how does he get that protected? He could be pulled in every direction by French Royal Knights. He'll need static defenses in terms of outposts and arrow slits and placements, but that takes resources away from producing army. He's going to be building that barracks now as well. We're not getting to that feudal age, and the barracks is not even up yet for the Delhi Sultanate. We've seen this before as well. The French actually have a very fast uptime now, especially when you use 5 villages to build the School of Cavalry, and just timing wise, it means you can get an early night out, and it can usually harass your opponent's eco. All things considered, though, Beastie is building up the barracks at a decent time, and he'll be able to get at least 1 or 2 spearmen out, but where does he use to protect? He's going to have to make a choice, either the berries or the woodline and gold, and you get the feeling it's going to be the woodline and gold. And for a secondary mosque, as you would expect, he needs to be able to produce those scholars, which should help his army heal them up. But he won't be. They won't come cheap. I believe it's 150 gold per scholar now. Dome of the Faith, of course, would have got those scholars out cheaper, but with a slow, research time. Does have a decent number of sheep there coming in. Beastyqt to rely on if he does get pushed off berries as a safer resource of food. Scout just keeping an eye on the stone to see if a second town centre will be coming, but that would be an incredibly risky move. As the scholar does go inside the barracks, making use of the efficient production, which enables the production buildings to produce twice as fast. And Scout staying on the side, and Knight diving in. Should be able to pick off one villager here. Charge attack goes off and actually backs off. Doesn't want to fight underneath the town centre or get arrow fire, and that Knight wants to preserve the HP of that Knight, and he does exactly that. Spearman now heading towards that north part of the base and protect the gold vein. On the back of this, is Marinelord going for an archery range? We shall see. He is not just yet, keeping 4 villagers on gold. Oh, there we are. There's the archery range being placed. Has a wheelbarrow already in the bag. And Beastyqt doesn't have any... Oh, okay, I take the bag. On the northeast, you might be thinking, oh, look at all those empty spots for the researching. There is a bit of bug of capture rage at the moment. It's a work in progress. It's a fantastic overlay anyway. But it's bugged for the Delhi Sultanate, so nothing shows as being researched. Don't forget, the Delhi Sultanate can research everything for free anyway, so we'll just have to manually check, and, as you can see, double broad axe is actually coming in for Beastyqt now as a Knight dives in, gets a hit on the Spearman. Spearman backs off and looking to take a trade off here, but Spearman won't be able to live for too much longer. The Knight doesn't take the next hit because there's too many Spearmen there. There's the blacksmith. Villager building the blacksmith will go down though, so villagers are being lost here for Beastyqt. The problem is, it's just, the French versus Delhi, he's so far in the back foot now, Delhi, and it means that, well, the French town centre is working faster. As time progresses, the villager count and the villager lead will just naturally increase, and that's not even factoring the fact that, well, BC's lost a few villagers already. There's a stable though, so it will be 1 barracks and 1 stable. I mean, the thing is, Beastyqt is just not going to be able to have access to the sacred sites as well. With this map control that Marinelord has with the military, if Beastyqt even tries to get scholars on the field, they'll just die. These scholars do come out to try and heal up those spearmen. There is a scholar in the stable now, so double producing on that stable, but it doesn't have the resources to do so, so I might need that scholar out of there. Oh, we see a double stable now coming out. Well, 1 stable and 1 school of cavalry for Marinelord. He means business. He's going heavy cavalry in. It makes sense when you think about the context of the game and the map. of how aggressive the French can be and use the mobility to just take out pocket economies. Look at this. Like, this wood line is not going to last much longer. The scout staying here and keeping an eye on things. Blacksmith going to go there. And again, Knights might just sweep around here and take them out. We'll have to see. Keep an eye on where the army is. Army heading south for Beastyqt. A couple of spearmen and 3 horsemen with the scholar. Looking to try and capture a sacred site now in the middle, but we'll see if he manages to do so. Where is the army for Marinelord? That's the question. Mostly back at home here, going north, but once he hears the sacred site being taken, he's going to head in that direction. You can bet your bottom dollar on that. Not that you should. Gambling's not very good. Wouldn't recommend it. Okay, a couple of knights now. Going to be focusing on those villages on gold. Do back off. The scout will be lost though from Marinelord. That's a bit of a pain. He won't have as much vision. The sacred site in the centre is being capped now. Marinelord will be aware of this. The concern is Beasty's done this a little bit earlier, I feel. When he had the mobility as a French, he hasn't got the palisade walls up. If he's going to commit to the palisade walls, he might as well just wait a couple more seconds to make sure the palisade wall goes up, because look what's happening now. The knights heading in that direction. The archers might pick off those units, and if the palisade walls doesn't go up, that's a lot of wood invested for nothing. If he's just going to break through, the spearmen there by Beasty brought out just to delay things a little bit, but the palisades aren't going to go down, and if he just waited a few seconds longer and it's open, those units have to escape. It's better to keep the units alive. No, the sacred site's now being decapped. A bit of an oversight there for Beasty, you feel, but Marinelord was on point with the reaction going to that direction. Beastyqt is keeping quite a few of these villages on gold idle, which is a nice little boost for him, because obviously there's a lot of gold requirement for the French right now with 2 stables. I don't think he's going to be able to produce for both, but he's going to lose the scholar here, and that's 150 gold. That is huge. Doesn't have that sacred site capped either. He's not getting a gold trickle from that at all, and the central sacred site's now being decapped. And yeah, this is looking rough, guys. This is looking rough for Beastyqt, and he needs to win this game. This is the only way to get up to the grand final. There's an archery range there being built. Double blacksmith. It means that the upgrades will be coming in. Going for the west sacred side, but again, no palisade walls, and I wonder if some knights will head in that direction. Okay, sizable army coming out on the west now, so should be able to secure the sacred site. But I suspect army will be heading that way, and if it's not, this is the issue. So Beastyqt is trying to get the sacred site, and he probably will. But this gives Marinelord a couple of options. He can send some units here to try and decap this and deny it. He's going to send a knight there who kind of acts as scouting. But it also gives the signal to Marinelord to say, okay, well, if you're going for the sacred site, if you've got a lot of army there, well, that means I can pressurize your main base, and that's exactly what's happening. Villagers will be going, well, didn't lose any, but a lot of HP lost. The spearmen are going to be taken apart by the archers, and the problem is that Marinelord's army is so much more mobile. Beastyqt's a lot of his army here on the west side. A lot of spearmen here could be helping out, but they can't. They're out of position, and they can't come back in time. And they're also not protecting the pocket economies, or I say pocket, but you know, the expanded economies. It looks like Marinelord's actually heading back with his army. Rather surprising to see. Okay, so they say that attack's the best form of defense sometimes, and overall not a bad position for Beasty there to try and do this, because he's trying to put some pressure. He wants to keep the French army back at home, and he's succeeding at this moment. He's actually doing a pretty decent job of that. That's actually helping him really well, and hopefully that's the way back for Beastyqt. One of the best players in Age of Empires 4, arguably the best for many people's accounts, but Marinelord certainly command that kind of status, as well as we see the knights heading towards this central location, looking to take out some of the scholars. The scholars do go down. A lot of expensive units going down there for Beasty, and again, that gold vein in the south being idled. I'm surprised that Marinelord hasn't invested in an outpost there. Constantly being raided. The spearmen are out of position on the west side. Knights dive in. Archer's going to pick off possibly another scholar. No, doesn't quite manage it. Villages on this wood line. This wood line is gone now, so we're going to have to venture even further out. Nothing happening on the east as of yet. And the army heading back to the central location. And villagers are going towards the wood line. I like what he's doing here. Because what Marinelord could be doing, he could be expanding out here. You might be thinking, why not? It's closer to the town centre. But Marinelord is recognizing that most of his army is going to fight in the middle of the map. And so it makes sense to keep the villages on hand and close by, because if he does need to pull his army to defend, he can. A little bit risky though. West side, sacred site is under control of the Delhi Sultanate. A good bit of gold income coming in. No market to rebalance the economy, but it's not like it's floating a load of gold. It might be looking to keep that gold for the Castle Age. I'm not sure if we'll get to Castle Age though, because looks like both players going very heavy feudal age. 5 villagers lead for Marinelord, a couple of archers and knights heading forward. But concerned for Beastyqt, those scholars are going down. He loses one, and he needs those scholars alive. Spears trying to engage. This could be a good fight here for Beastyqt actually. Delhi could put a lot of pressure here. Horseman going to take down a lot of the archers. Marino taking his knights, but they're going around the wrong way. They're going around the west side of that wood line. Horseman getting involved and Spearmen coming in chasing after. This is a good win here for Beastyqt in this fight, you feel. Archers are picking up a lot of the spears on retreat though. That's not ideal. The horsemen for Beastyqt they need to double down on those archers, and they're doing exactly that. And spears coming in behind, but horsemen are getting picked apart by the knights and heading back. And overall, not too terrible from Marinelord. Could have been worse. He takes a couple of spears on the retreat, and Beastyqt going to lose another one. They turned around. I'm not sure why. The knight's going to get charge attack. The spear does turn around and brace. There's just not enough spears here. There's not enough spears for Beastyqt. This is a problem. The knight's going to engage on the archers and the horsemen. It's not a problem. There are a couple of these scholars there that didn't good work. The archers will go down for Marinelord, but the knights should be able to hold their own. Well, they are getting picked apart now with a couple of reinforcements. The reinforcements certainly helping. Defenders' advantage. Knights need to back off. It doesn't. I'm not sure if he has chivalry there. He does have chivalry, so the knights should be able to heal themselves back up again. But look at the production. Army value, 3,400 army value versus 2,600. Now it's coming in. All the archers there for Beastie. He's overcommitted. Yeah, those archers are going to go down. He didn't head into the sacred site, and it's not palisade walled up anyway. He loses so much here. Those archers were completely unguarded, not enough spearmen, and those knights dived in at exactly the right time from Marinelord. He's going to head forward. He's going to push the issue now. Beastyqt is struggling. This is an army that he couldn't afford to lose, and he's just losing it now. Those archers were unguarded. The knights are going to dive in. He doesn't mind here. Marinelord, he's going to take out another scholar, a very expensive unit, and he's going to head out onto the west now. Knights should be able to run away without too many losses, losing HP, but those will heal up. Scout does go down, limits the vision. Villagers on gold get pulled away. That means less scholar production. Uh-oh. This woodland is exposed, and Marinelord takes one knight there. He spots this, and now he's going to double down. He takes one knight to scout, and he spots the villagers, and the villagers are going to get cut off. There's archers there. There's going to get good damage per second, even on the retreat of those villagers. Now he's going to charge them down, and villagers going down left, right, center, 42 to 49. Beastyqt going to lose so much here. This is such a fantastic find from Marinelord, and we talked about this. We talked about the mobility of the French and how strong they could be in this position without the static defenses for the Delhi. They don't have the mobility of Delhi. As you can see, he's got predominantly archers and spearmen trying to take advantage of the Tower of Victory bonus. No horsemen really, and he just doesn't have mobility. And great pick off there by Marinelord, keeps his army safe. Meanwhile, the army is healing up. The knights are just getting stronger and stronger. Now he's going to head out on the east. Woodline there, precarious there for Beastie. He has to pull those villagers out, otherwise they run the risk of being killed. And now he's heading out here on the southern aspect of his base for that woodline. There's guys, there's 21 villagers there. And the knights heading that direction. Knights being pulled off here on the east side again. On the berry patch. He's going to spot this Marinelord, and there's going to be even more villagers going down for Beastyqt. There's nothing he can do about it. He doesn't have the military numbers he needs. And even if he does, they're out of position. They're just so far away. The knight spots it. And these villagers have to retreat. But what are they going to retreat into? They're going to retreat into a ball of archers. The knight's going to head around the north to cut off the retreat. And oh, this is so bad for Beastyqt. Marinelord playing this fantastically with the mobility of the French. Charge attack goes off. Villagers going down left, right. Uh-oh. 37 villagers to 49. You feel like now this game is slowly losing grip for Beastyqt. More villagers go down. Knights continue the chase, and oh, the army's going to stay on this wood line, but he's just lost so much. Lost so much economy. Berries are denied, and the knights they're diving in. They're getting good value, and he could just run away now with the knights and just heal them up again. So painful for Beastyqt. No outpost. No way. There's two knights there on that wood line, and he sees that. Make no mistake about it. He must know that's there, Marinelord. He might not have, actually. The line of vision for the knights are pretty terrible. The army's heading that way. Equal military numbers. And the problem is that equal numbers is not good enough here. Look at the army value. 5,600 to 4,200. Equal numbers is not enough. He's investing in spearmen and archers. Those are cheaper units. And the archers for Marinelord are going to pick apart the spearmen. If the spearmen numbers dwindle too much, then there's no way back here for Beastyqt, as the knights will have free reign. The archers still in good numbers. Archers focusing on the spears. There's still scholars there helping up for Beastie, but not enough. The knights get a good charge attack, and there's just, yeah, the spearmen are too low a number here. Beastie might lose everything. The spears go down. There it is. There's a tap out. Beastyqt taps out. Marinelord is going to be your grand finalist. He's going to progress to the next stage of this Red Bull Wololo Legacy tournament. $300,000 prize pool is up for grabs, and Marinelord's going to be in it with a shout.